Greetings, YouTube. Greetings, everyone. And please welcome back my regular guest, you, James.
Hello there, this is James Escroft at UJames1978.
Now, we've literally just finished watching Kill the Moon. Now, I want to open with sort of a few things. This episode opened with the sort of, we've got 45 minutes to do everything premise, and there was a couple of years ago in the Russell T Davies era, there was an episode called 42. Most Doctor Who episodes, if you cut them down, they last 42 minutes. So we're going to have a real-time episode. A lot of people liked it. We're on a spaceship and we've got 42 minutes before the spaceship crashes into the sun, even though you die a long time before the spaceship actually made contact with the sun, but never mind. And some people like it. I thought that episode was really boring, and I generally find spacesuity episodes of new Doctor Who quite dull. They just don't appeal to me, and they always get compared with Alien films. The Satan one, the Impossible Planet and slash the Satan Pit was pretty good. But I think since then, this one, it does have a new writer, and I can feel where it's a new writer. I'm glad that Courtney became a proper companion, I guess. If you count any of these as proper companions right now, but she's had a proper trip. Although I miss the feisty Courtney, but I don't know. We'll see how the character develops, and I want to give her a chance. There were quite a few cliquey things about this episode for me, mainly to do with attitudes towards gender. Where did Stephen Moffat lay an egg? What I have always found with New Who, I'm going to guess that this is going to be it'll already be a polarizing episode. When there is a polarizing episode of New Doctor Who in the fandom, I'm one of those people who has cognitive dissonance. So I know I already simultaneously, I can't be indifferent to this episode like I was the Caretaker. I'd rather have cognitive dissonance than be indifferent. I am so ambivalent. So yes, I 100% love and 100% despise this episode simultaneously. It's painful, but at least I'm feeling something. You, James, your thoughts?
So none of it meant anything. It was all of the tension, all of the build-up, having these giant bacteria spiders killing the rest of the crew, so it was down to them, this massive decision to save the world. If they'd never been there, the swallow was born, the egg dissipated harmlessly, and it laid another egg, so everything was fine. What was the point of anything? Just so that the writer could say, aha, here, children, this is what... So nothing happens when we don't have a space program. I got in the first 5 minutes when they were, or first 10 minutes when they were banging on about second-hand shuttle and third-hand astronauts. We don't have a space program anymore, and now we're really regretting it because, that was the message and moral of it. No, humans, you've got to go out into space. And why? And oh yes, the fact that the world wasn't saved. The creature was saved because Clara succumbed to her mummy instincts. What were you saying there about Moffat laying an egg? But it's an unborn baby.
Yes, and the thing about the president's a woman, and they're both women. I'll leave you women to make this decision. Yeah. And at the end, Clara. Women are such curious, emotional creatures, aren't they? Why can't a woman be more like a man? Sorry, pardon the reference to a musical there. Okay, yes, I mentioned that myself. When I did feel the emotions, and at least there was some kind of ethical dilemma, even if it was a pretense, I suppose, an ethical dilemma.
It was a pretense. It was grossly. It was just so grotesque and over the top. And as I say, the whole, just having the spiders, the giant spider bacteria killing off the rest of the crew solely to raise tension that wasn't there. This is literally Moffat doing and then, as if by magic, the Time War never happened, and all of the Daleks were destroyed, and everyone lived happily ever after.
I did call both Courtney saving the day, kind of, and the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, again, you said Courtney saving the world would be well, she didn't save the world. Did she save the day? It was Clara who pressed the abort button.
Yeah, well, Courtney had something to do with it. Actually, can I just say, about those scenes, that this could so easily be used for the pro-life lobby.
Yeah, I know. This is Moffat's. Well, not just. Sorry, it's another writer. But what you were saying about Moffat having a protege. No. It's not simply a whoever wrote this episode isn't simply a protege of Moffat. He has graduated with a degree in screenwriting from Moffat University. He has sat at the feet of the master and learned well how to ruin a TV series. Oh, and just one point. When did Claudia Boleyn posted this on Facebook? When did Doctor Who stop saying that humans were special and talking about the great potential of humanity? When Moffat banged his head and forgot that he wasn't writing Sherlock? Because, yes, the kind of sociopathic aloofness. I've only seen one episode of Sherlock. But Peter Capaldi was channeling Benedict Cumberbatch's role in this serial.
Well, they promised us a darker Doctor.
There's a difference between dark and arsehole. Yeah, and in this one, he was simply an arsehole. And the whole thing, well, humans, you have to sort it out for yourself. Then why is it Doctor Who? Why is the TARDIS there? Why is Courtney there? What is the point of any of this? To give us some message about going into space, which isn't even relevant. I know the massive plot holes. This was such a first draft in so many ways. My grandma used to put things on Tumblr. It's 2049, she's in her 40s, so her mum used to put things on Tumblr. The space program is so defunct that the only space shuttle in existence was a museum piece. Wait a minute, the Mexicans sent a mineral survey to the moon less than 10 years earlier. What, the private corporation who sent it up there didn't have another shuttle? Etc., etc., etc. Oh yes, the whole world has to be part of the decision. That's leaving by turning their lights off. You can only see one half of the planet, so that's half of the planet left out of the decision. Courtney becomes president of the United States. It's illegal for anyone to become president unless they are. No one can become president unless they are a natural citizen, unless they were born in the US. This is why Arnold Schwarzenegger can never be, even though he's he either is or was a Republican governor of California. He can never be president because although he's a naturalized citizen, he applied for citizenship. He was born in Austria. So there are just and again the spiders. Why? To add tension. What for? The whole thing was, this is the greatest decision in the history of humanity. And the whole thing was pointless. It reminds me of Nightmare... Well, not Nightmare in Silver. The other Cybermen... No, it was Nightmare in Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end, they're going to blow up the planet. This is the Willy Wonka one, where they go to the fairground.
Yeah. Nightmare in Silver.
No, it was Nightmare in Silver, excuse me. But they're going to blow up the planet. Okay, so we're all going to kill ourselves. Oops, but all of a sudden they're miraculously transported to the planet, and to the spaceship, and everything's fine. Completely rendering all of the Emperor's, the actor who played Willow, all of his guilt, all of his redemption, utterly worthless, completely wiping out the entire point of the last 40 minutes. What? So, as I say, I don't know if Moffat wrote that episode specifically, but whoever wrote this episode has... Doctor Who has been thoroughly Moffated by this point.
I'm going to say this time last week I was in a bad mood because I was bored out of my mind. This didn't bore me. And I suppose, obviously, I've only seen it, I've seen the first half twice, but I mean, I've seen the episode once in full, so I don't know what my opinion would be on the second time. At least I felt something watching this.
Yeah, that just goes to show how low the standards have fallen. You felt something other than mind-boggling tedium. So that means it's better. You felt something other than mind-boggling tedium or frustrated rage and disgust.
If I'd watched Strictly Come Dancing for 2 freaking hours beforehand, which I didn't, but if I had, this would be like being awoken from cryogenic suspension and feeling one's senses again for the first time.
Again, it's okay, all television is relative, all opinions are subjective, but come on, it's what you were saying about Time Heist. If this is the best that Season 8 has to offer, then please never, ever, ever show me Listen or The Caretaker.
But to be honest, though, I don't think you'd actually, I suppose I was frustrated watching Listen, and I was bored watching The Caretaker, but mainly, you pretty much just forget them.
Yeah.
I'm
even not forgetting this. I saw it less than 10 minutes ago, but seriously, talk about total lack of emotional impact. When there's no point to any of it, the last 10 minutes, I think, was Clara agonising over, that's it, I'm done with the Doctor because he left me and forced me to make a decision. Well, if you hadn't made the decision, it's just so stupid. Oh, and you said the best characterisation. Where? How? The female astronauts, the only survivor of the astronauts, she was the tough woman, the tough person sent there to do a job who was determined to do it for the greater good. Yes, I don't think the astronaut in this episode was played by the same actress who was the commander of the soldiers in Nightmare in Silver, but it was exactly the same character. The tough woman thrown into with responsibility thrust upon her, fate of the world on her shoulders, determined to make the harsh decision for the greater good, Time War Doctor style. But in both cases, the decision being rendered utterly meaningless and obsolete. It's just... What, so you could have just put your... So, actor who played Willow, who was Emperor whatever, the 49, you could have just put your hand on it, triggered the device, and then been transported up to the ship at any time.
I'm now bothered by the fact I can't think of the name of the actor, because he is awesome. What is his name? But yeah, I think it's not even Deus Ex Machina, is it? It's something else.
No, it's not. It is just, and they all lived happily ever after. Goodbye. It is Moffat's solution to the Time War. It is, because children might die and we can't kill children. Pro-life, pro-life, pro-life.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could argue if it was unique, then would you be committing genocide to save humanity? So which would mean what they should have discussed was, do you commit genocide to prevent genocide? Why do we assume that our species has more of a right to live than another?
Why does a lion have more right to live than the gazelle?
Oh, a Darwinian argument from you, James.
No, but what I'm saying is, considering the fact that it's all science fiction and it's all total bollocks, the moon is not an egg, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, you can prove that, can you?
It's the most contrived storyline possible for the most kill one or kill humanity false ethical question possible. All of which is utterly meaningless by the end.
I'm still waiting for your proof and evidence that the moon isn't an egg.
Oh, everyone knows it's a hologram. Shh.
Oh, okay. Actually, that's the thing, though, because at the beginning I was applauding this because that awful remake of The Time Machine that I don't think I even watched all of. I haven't read the book, The Time Machine. I am a fan of H.G. Wells, but I haven't actually read The Time Machine. But I do know the classic movie. And the remake put something in about humans doing something that fucks up, and it causes the Earth to break into... causes the moon to break into bits. And it has no impact on Earth or its inhabitants at all. You added this to H.G. Wells' story, and it wasn't in the other movie, the good movie version.
Actually, talking of physics, any astronomer, a 1.7 billion ton creature, or however big it's supposed to be, the moon fucking hatches. This creature flies out of orbit after laying another egg, another moon. Oh, so that's all fine then. No. One point about the film Independence Day, when these massive ships come into orbit around Earth. How would they have wiped out humanity? They wouldn't have had to. The earthquakes, tsunamis, and tidal waves caused by the ships simply coming into orbit.
I was going to say, the period when there was temporarily no moon, would have had an impact. The moon keeps us in the Goldilocks position, it causes the tides, and it reduces wobulation by about 90%.
Yes, the idea that, oh no, this space swallow can just fly away and leave another egg, that would have no... That would...
I hear... Yeah.
It is just so stupid. It is so insulting.
Well, it's better than that stupid Time Machine remake in that at least there are some references to how the moon impacts on us and life on Earth. Well, there would be
but
no
I'm talking about the happily ever after ending.
Yes, and you said swallow. And of course, yes, the reference being the stork. Because all children will know how the stork brings the baby. You hadn't made that connection, and you covertly hate me for pointing it out.
Moffat is breeding. He is spawning shit writers. Find the nest and burn it.
But don't worry, James, because next week they have a Cabbage Patch. Okay, yes, okay. Twee, childish. When it comes to the science, Google is your friend.
The plot holes in this, Jesus fuck, and literally having the giant bacteria spider monsters for no fucking reason whatsoever, except to build tension and to make it seem like there was a threat when actually there was none. And
well, they didn't need to, because the threat is on Earth. Earth is flooding because of this.
Oh no! There is a difference between something off camera is terrible, and this giant creature is ripping your face off. There is a distinct difference. The entire Mexican Mineral Survey being wiped out, trying to put the idea in the mind that yes, the thing inside the moon is evil and a hideous threat, but no, it's an innocent little baby. See how we fooled you there.
It was the idea. If you sum it up as the moon, the high concept, the moon is an egg. That is a new idea. That's something. Last week it was Grange Hill, and they wheeled out a robot in the last 5 minutes. This week, that was actually, and I'm not saying it was well executed, but at least it was a bit different.
It was an original idea as far as I'm aware, only because no science fiction writer... I think this is the first science fiction writer to actually be that stupid. To have so little understanding of or respect for science.
There was something about halfway through where you said, that is an insult to every physicist. What did you mean?
It
was something to do with pressure or gravity. I'd have to watch the episode again, but I didn't want to interrupt to ask you.
Yeah, sorry, I can't remember what it was, but as I say, the science in this episode, if you can call it that, is so soft. I can't remember exactly what I was referring to, but it's, you know, the ending was an insult to every physicist. There were several points where it would have just been. There were several points where every astronomer and physicist on the planet, anyone who knows anything about gravity, about physics, etc., would have. Oh no, that was it. Yes, there was a breach. Oh my God, the air's being sucked out. We're all going to, blown out. We're all going to be blown out of this and die. To wit, as if by magic, the plate, the perfect size for the hole, just slammed into place. Exactly in place. Airtight seal. Trillion to 1 chance doesn't even begin to describe how utterly impossible, not implausible, impossible something like that is. But again, it is just another example of, oh my God, we're in danger, we're all going to die. Oh no, everything's fine now. Here, have some cake.
I suppose that actually kind of worsens the idea of it being a lesson from the Doctor, because he could have got them all killed.
Exactly.
He says, well, eating chips is bad for you. Crossing the road is dangerous. Yes, okay, but if you go by that logic, then, okay. These people, the characters in this episode, were a lot more likely to be killed than stay alive. You don't cross the road with your eyes closed and your fingers in your ears.
And why exactly did... and as I say, why I was going to ask a rational question. What reason would Clara have had to abort the bomb? It's either A, she was too scared to kill herself, sacrifice herself for humanity, or B, it was a Wickle baby, and we can't kill a Wickle baby.
They should have introduced the concept of... Because my mind wrote in something, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I was already writing this in my head as even the first time around, when I was only halfway through, because I got to the egg bit. Humanity, on the one hand, humanity is arrogant to assume that our lives automatically mean more. Although I suppose it's more than 7 billion. By 2049, let's say 10 billion, fuck knows, versus one life. But on the other hand, I suppose if it's unique, as the Doctor says, they should have gone down that route.
How did they know that it's unique?
The Doctor seemed to know, I don't know. But when it comes to what the Doctor knows, at least this writer chucked out the fixed point thing. Deal with that. No, I don't know. It's not a fixed point, I can't see it. No. That improved it hugely for me. Just that this writer did at least bend fixed points over and fuck them up the arse.
Well, that's the thing. Fortunately, you've spared me from too much fixed point bullshit.
I'm now wondering how many sad fans like me are going to go through their collection to find any Doctor Who episode set after 2049 where you can see the Earth's moon and it looks the same as it looks now. Although, happy days, because at least Stephen Moffat will be getting lots of very irritating letters. Yeah, I don't know. As I can say, it was entertaining enough. I do just love. I'm starting to fancy Peter Capaldi, which will definitely. Basically, I think he's probably the hottest Doctor they've had. Everyone fancies David Tennant. Some people fancy Matt Smith. I think Peter Capaldi. Yeah, I just sort of. Yeah, I'm developing a crush on Peter Capaldi. Oh fuck! I'm one of those people who loves assholes.
Yes, the whole Benedict Cumberbatch thing. And one point which I think is worth mentioning before we wrap up this podcast, a point which, a point which He Who Moans, Stuart Hardy, made in his review of The Caretaker. The fact that in the Moffat Doctor Who universe, it is now impossible for characterization or character development to occur in space. It must occur in a domestic setting. So at the end of the episode, Clara had to have her tearful heart-to-heart and develop as a character with Danny Pink in the classroom. She couldn't do it in the TARDIS. But then again, it may be that Clara has given up time travel now and she will no longer be a companion. We can only hope.
Well, we'll see. At least that's a bit of a game changer. You did actually make references to the Ark in Space, the yo-yo.
Yes, one of Tom Baker's greatest episode, and not necessarily the yo-yo, but the I don't think you want to kill me because I'm incredibly clever and I might be able to help you. Yes, deliberate rip-off there. Oh, and what was it at the end? Clara, was she trying to rip off Stephen Taylor's speech at the end of the massacre? What was she trying to was the writer trying to recreate that kind of feel? The difference there being Clara is a bit pissed off because she feels used and cheated by the Doctor. Stephen was rightly angry because, having witnessed so much death during the serial The Daleks' Master Plan, so much needless death, the Doctor had, he believed at that point, left Anne Chapelet to be murdered instead of saving her. You could have saved her, and you chose to send her back out knowing that the Catholics would murder her. If your researchers have so little regard for human life, then I want nothing to do with them. One of the greatest companion moments with Doctor Who, as opposed to this, which, as you said in the first recording segment, oh, aren't women such strange emotional creatures? Why can't women be more like men?
But yes, okay, there was and the whole thing about character development, because some people criticise 1980s Doctor Who, claiming that the companions didn't have much character, didn't develop much. And yes, they did do it all in space. Actually, to be honest, I think even Tegan had some development.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, it's sort of... there are definitely shortcomings. I think with this episode now, I think, on the reflection, it makes me see once again, and this is the tragedy. The tragedy of New Who isn't when you look at it and you think it's dust and just, it's time to end it all. It's when you see that there is potential. That
is the greatest insult. I think that's the going back to earlier when we were discussing. Oh no. I'll cut this bit out of it. Don't worry.
You don't want another rant?
No. So carry on your point.
I don't know. I think I probably did make the point, to be honest. There's nothing really to cut out. It's...
Oh, yeah. And, yes. Oh, but that's the point, though, going back to what I was saying. The whole episode started because the Doctor told Courtney that she wasn't special. But... yes, this is the point I wanted to make about the Ark in Space, which the Doctor was trying to rip off when he was doing that scene with the yo-yo. Because I'm very clever and you might be able to save me. Again, perhaps one of the greatest speeches of Doctor Who in total, probably the greatest speech of the Tom Baker era. Look at them. Homo sapiens sapiens. Barely a few million years since they learned to walk upright. And they have survived. Floods, earthquakes, plague, famine, war. Now their entire world is on the brink of extinction. And yet, here they are. They always survive. They always endure. Indomitable. Indomitable. And compare that to, oh, it's dangerous just crossing the road. And this is the decision that you have to make for yourself. Again, the Doctor 12's attitude change from, yes, you're just pathetic little ape-like creatures who I visit from time to time, to, no, this is when you must make the decision to go out into space and to live until the end of eternity.
Actually, even that's a bit of a new series retread. There were quite a few new series.
Oh, what's the
retreads
little sphere things that were supposed to replace the little killer spheres that are supposed? Troclophane. Yes, the great revelation that they are the ultimate evolution of humanity from what is it, something like 100 trillion years in the future.
Yeah, at the very end of time.
Yeah.
But no, when I say new, it's God. There was a bit of Waters of Mars in this. There was a bit of there were quite a few things, and fairly sure those orange spacesuits themselves are just kind of reused props from a whole other bit of our history. Well, I'll have to check that actually. When was Waters of Mars then?
So again, just this. So this episode is probably the first time anyone has ever sat down with a straight face and thought, okay, what if the moon was a giant egg?
I don't.
But.
Actually...
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, I actually like that idea. It's imaginative. It's innovative.
But again, it's about that single idea buried beneath the weight of trope and formula and cliche and retread and rip-off and incredibly badly done rip-off. And seriously, at the end, they end the episode. They say they have 45 minutes to make the business decision. It's finished by about 35, 40 minutes in. The last 10 minutes is just Clara being a whiny little bitch. Jesus, tap dancing Christ, when is this godforsaken episode going to end?
I'm going to use that for a segue, James, because, and this should become a new catchphrase and a whole new segment, a whole new thing. The thing that is in room 101 is the very worst thing in the world. And, we're going to do another segment after we've watched the 10-minute documentary and let them explain themselves.
Yes, I can just imagine Peter Capaldi, his explanation in this in the documentary. Or no, if the entire cast and everyone involved in it, including the writers, were saying, "I'm sorry, what were we thinking? I'm sorry. No, you'd want that for Listen or The Caretaker, wouldn't you?"
Okay, so we've just finished watching the 10-minute sort of mini documentary, featurette, whatever you call it. Not actually an interview with the writer/main writer. There was a bit of Stephen Moffat that didn't make James want to kill anyone. But interesting things there. That you get a big actor that I hadn't noticed from Porridge and Only Fools and Horses, who I didn't know had been in Doctor Who. He was a Mavellan, and apparently he was in... I think I do remember him in Dragonfire now. Yeah, now that I think about it. I suppose when you're a kid, you kind of just get used to the same faces and what have you. So, alright, there wasn't really anything about the writing of the episode. Quite interesting stuff about how Lanzarote is where they actually test things that are going to be on the moon. And so that probably was the most interesting thing in the... but your thoughts, James?
Yes, the featurette itself, it felt more like a trailer. It is just something... I'm assuming that it went out long before the episode itself.
No, it goes out afterwards.
Oh, no. But no, there was nothing... Yeah, that explains the slight spoileriness of it. But no, I didn't see... that there was nothing really to say about it, except for the fact it's not only acknowledged, it referenced the classic series. Yes, Moffat, the classic series does exist. You can't keep blatantly ripping it off, just wanking it off to appease the new Who fans and then pretend that it's yours. So, referring to the fact that other episodes had been filmed in Lanzarote, that the actor who played Duke in this, Dennis, I can't remember how to pronounce his second name. He was also in 2 classic series episodes, one of which you mentioned, Alex. But no, the only thing that I thought was watching Peter Capaldi wrestling the giant rubber germ spider. I can't believe I mentioned it. In all of the grotesque insults to science in the episode, I can't believe I didn't mention this before. Bacteria as giant tarantulas. It does not matter how massive the host organism is. The bacteria can only ever be single-celled life forms. If you wanted to say that this was a parasite species, that they weren't bacteria, that they weren't single-celled life forms, that would work, but this is coming from the same mind which thinks the moon could be an egg, that breaches in space capsules miraculously seal themselves as soon as a perfectly shaped metal plate flies into place, and that the gravitational shift caused by a giant space stork laying a new egg and flying away wouldn't destroy the planet. So, is there a meme? Something? Oh yes, that's it. The stupid, it burns.
To be fair, though, there's even stuff like in Earthshot. Why did prehistoric Earth have our continents instead of just Pangaea?
Oh no, this was 65 million years ago. The ship which crashed into the Earth was supposedly the giant meteorite that wiped out the dinosaurs. That was the whole premise of it. So by that time, the modern continents would be more or less formed as we know them today. Pangaea is much, much, much older than the dinosaur extinction, as far as I'm aware. Perhaps someone who knows more about geology could correct me if I'm wrong on that. But
in the comments section, please. I think we have lots of geologists.
There is a massive distinction between getting something a little wrong, just using the Earth because the Earth as it is now, because you're not a geologist and you don't know how the Earth would have looked 65 million years ago. And yes, bacteria can be giant spiders and the moon can be an egg. Again, a science fiction writer. Oh yes, and the Cybermen will be killed by jam, and we can. Oh yes, and we can hollow out the. This is the example you should have used, Alex. And we can hollow out the Earth to use it as a giant spaceship. That's not one of Terry Nation's best ideas.
Okay. Well, perhaps I kind of agree in that obviously they're trying, with Courtney, they're trying to appeal to kids in school. They could perhaps try to have a bit more of an edutainment thing going on, I suppose. And yes, you would think there would be somebody on the team a bit more science literate. But there you go. My final thought is, look, the episode entertained me for the most part. I think it's one that I will want to watch again, where my opinion might change. In some ways, in terms of entertainment value, it's actually been one of the better ones so far. Although we're already in the second half of the season. So, look, I just want to find out if God is Mary Poppins. Okay? I just want to find out.
I still think you're reading way too much into that single line. But no, from what you've told me about Moffat, that does sound like the kind of unbelievably smug, self-congratulatory, oh, look at me, aren't I smart, look at me foreshadowing this rubbish that he might attempt to pull off. So if Mary Poppins does turn out to be God, half of Who fandom will cheer, and the other half will swear off the series for good and stick yet more pins into their Moffat voodoo doll.
And speaking of Doctor Who fandom, of course, I've been in a bubble. It's 10 to 1 a.m. The actual episode aired at 8:30, so social media will be full of I'm predicting polarized. This was the best thing ever. This was the worst thing ever. People arguing, friendships being ended. This will be, yeah. But as I say, episodes that polarize the fandom. I'm always ambivalent to the point of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, the old days. Just to give my final thoughts, because I think we are wrapping up now. You've already given yours. In the old days, it was a constant struggle between are we a drama or are we a kids show. Now I think the paradigm has shifted. Now it's are we a soap opera, are we a sitcom, or are we a kids show? And yes, after the sitcom last week. Now it's gone back to the kids show. Yes. Depth, tension, an actual ethical quandary has consequences. You can't just magic it all away, Moffat, and say that they all live happily ever after. As you say, Alex, that's not Deus Ex Machina. That is just waving your magic wand and making all the bad things go away, so no one has to deal with anything. Except,
I don't know.
except feeling a little bit pissed off because the Doctor forced the decision on you.
I'd have trouble adapting to a new moon. I'd go through a period of "you're not my real moon."
I can just imagine you with your arms folded, pouting angrily and looking in the other direction.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I think we've done our final thoughts. So it's good night from you, James.
Good night.
And it's good night from me.